Welcome to the 12-Step Recovery Evolution podcast. Visit recoveryevolution.co.uk for more episodes, helpful resources and links to our social media. Also visit the site for information on how you can attend a future Zoom session or workshop live. Thank you.
Morning, you alright, Les? Thanks for your talk, mate. And just wanted to sort of talk about removing unhealthy relationships from your life as well. And I used to have, there was a guy I sort of met in treatment, and he had a lot of issues, and I had a lot of issues, and I'd been a narcissist and an abuser and an horrible person for a lot of years. But as I kind of went on in recovery, I kind of started making little changes and taking some guidance off yourself and Sonia and other people, and it kind of got to a place where, you know, I had Shirley in the background and my family and things like that, right? But I was just putting so much energy into trying to fix all these fellowship people and the friends around me. And some of them, like this, you know, what kind of happened was I realised that I'd become a bit of an empath, over-emphatic sort of thing. And I think narcissistic people are quite drawn to that, aren't they? And this kind of friend that I had, it was like he couldn't be happy for anything that was going on in my life. Any conversation we had would always kind of go back to him talking about his problems. He hadn't really made any sort of progress, kept using, and I kept trying to fix him. And then, you know, as long as the conversation went the way he wanted it to go, it was all fine. And then the minute I kind of tried to challenge him on anything or talk about the steps, he'd start moaning. If I talked about anything good going on in my life, he'd just shut it down straight away. And in the end, I kind of got to a point where I had to, talk to him and just sort of say, "Hey, Shell, you all right?" And just sort of say, "I'm on here, 2 secs, babe." And just sort of say to him, like, you know what, like, I'm not, because he kept saying, "Oh, you and me are like brothers." Yeah, it was like he had his hooks in me, yeah. And I think in that, it was like all his pain of the past, he was kind of pinning on me, yeah. And it was like a kind of relationship where I had to meet the conditions of what he wanted. And I kind of got to a point where I had to say to him, "Mate, look, we're not brothers. Yeah, I'll be your friend, yeah, but I can't continue with this relationship." And we sort of fell apart, and he went his way and I went mine. And I spoke to someone a little while later, and they were like, "Yeah, that fella keeps ringing me, keeps saying you and me are like brothers." So, I just got free of that one, mate. But it took a bit of courage and some help from other people. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the thing. And I think, it's again, relationships are quite complicated, but when you actually understand the basic principles of them, remember that you can be that cafe owner and you also can be the stinky customer. And as you learn more about this stuff, you start seeing that you're possibly in different relationships, one or the other, but, you know, you start adjusting yourself. But, you know, you can be being manipulated and you can be then manipulating other people, and people that are guilty, you know, that when, like I say, we say that when people are guilty, that they can try and be good, but they're not trying to be good for the sake of being good. They're trying to be good to try and soothe their guilt. And so that could be quite damaging to children, that people, you know, don't do the right thing with their children. They do the wrong thing because it makes them feel good. Like, you know, if you got a fat kid and the kid's upset and it's happy when you keep giving it a cake, that's not the right thing to do. And, you know, but it's going to make you feel good for a little while, but it's not a healthy thing to do, and it's not a good solution to the problem. You need to find a better solution. So, you know, emotions are like that, and when you're actually not clear on who you are, and again, when you're dysfunctional, you're a victim, and you're an easy victim, and you're also an abuser, but you're easy to manipulate as well. And, you know, it's like anybody that's not been loved properly are easy to manipulate because they're starving of affection. And so if you start offering them affection, whether you're, you know, like Dan's saying there, if you're someone who's starving from affection and you come across a narcissist who's going to show you loads of affection, they're going to make you feel fantastic. But the payback's going to be a bitch. And you can end up in a very unhealthy relationship. And, you know, you see it with these, you know, domestic violence, innit? It's why do you keep going back? And it's because there's something very unhealthy about them, that they still think that they're going to somehow, if I, there is this really sort of twisted idea that I think I seem to find in a lot of people, where he's like, if you love me, you'll put up with my shit. And they're like, oh, I'll put up with his shit. He must know that I love him, and eventually he's going to love me. But again, it's all very twisted and very unhealthy and very dangerous. So this emotional stuff that we're talking about is very kind of invisible, but it really is good the more you learn it. And, people just don't want to bully me. I've noticed that when people get bullied, I kind of think, my first thing is, why are you letting them bully you? I know in these days it's like, oh, it's terrible, you're being bullied. Let's all stop the bully. And I'm like, hang on a minute, why are you letting them bully you? There's something missing in you. Don't let them bully you. Otherwise, you're going to have to. It's just something not empowered in you. So I don't think it's good that people bully, because I'm like, why are you bullying him or her? Why are you letting them bully you? I think there's two problems. I don't think there's one problem. I'm really not into this like soft little weak lefty stuff. There is a thing about, I just noticed that people won't bully me when I'm not in that vulnerable state. But if they can, and that has happened to me in my life, when I was hanging around with all the gangsters, they put fear in me. And then I noticed that fear then that they put in me started to control me. And then it got to a point where I felt like I've got to kill them. It put me in that position in my early 20s where it's like, because they put that fear in me, the conclusion that I had was, I've got to kill them. It's the only way that I can get this fear out of me, because once that fear gets in you, then you can be controlled. And it put me in a very difficult situation. So from that moment on, I thought, I'm not letting anybody going to put fear in me like that again. And again, probably made me a little bit over aggressive, but I'd rather be over aggressive than be bullied, to tell the truth. No matter what society says, that's just me.